$7 million boost. Filipino billionaire. Backs AlexEala calls her a symbol of national excellence. It began with a single phone call, a humid Manila. Afternoon 2025. Traffic roared outside. Ayala Avenue, but inside the quiet. Boardroom of one of the Philippines' most powerful conglomerates. Something entirely different stirred. Not a business merger, not a corporate decision, but choice rooted in heart and patriotism. "Let's back her," said the voice of a Filipino billionaire, his tone decisive yet emotional. "She's not just an athlete. She's a symbol of national excellence." The her in that sentence, Alexander Manoyla, at 20 years old, she was no longer just a rising tennis star. She was a heartbeat of a generation, and the backing, a $7 million investment, the largest private donation ever made in Philippine tennis history. It wasn't just money. It was belief wrapped in national pride. The girl with the fire before the headlines. And glory, there was only the sound of rubber saws squeaking on a sun-baked court in Quezon City. A young Alex, barely taller than the tennis net, was training under the searing afternoon sun. Her shirt clung to her small frame, sweat dripping down her forehead. Yet her eyes, fierce and focused, never blink away from a ball. Again her father shouted, tossing another ball. She swung, missed. Another toss. She swung again, and this time, crack. The ball shot across the court, hitting the baseline perfectly. She smiled. "I'll get it right every time, Papa." That was Alex, the little girl who refused to stop trying. At 7, she was already training 6 days a week. At 10, she was competing internationally. At 12, she was accepted into the Rafa Nadal Academy. In Spain, an unimaginable leap for a young Filipina athlete. She packed her life into a suitcase, said goodbye to her family, and flew to Majorca chasing a dream few from her country had ever dared to chase. The island that forged a champion. At the Rafa Nadal Academy, AlexEala became more than a player. She became a warrior. Morning began before sunrise, conditioning drills, sprints, core training. Afternoons brought hours of matches under the scorching Spanish sun. Evenings recovery, study, reflection. There were days she cried from exhaustion, nights when homesickness hit so hard she'd call her Mom just to hear a familiar voice. But quitting never an option. Rough and Nad. Dahl himself once told her during a practice session, discipline creates freedom. If you love what you do, every sacrifice is worth it. She took those words to heart. In 2022, she made history, winning the U.S. Open Juniors title, the first Filipino to ever win a Grand Slam. The world suddenly knew her name, but behind that victory was quiet pain, financial stress, the constant need for sponsorship, and the fear that talent might not be enough without backing. That's when fate, or perhaps destiny, began to turn its gaze toward her once again. The billionaire with a vision, the man who would later become Alex's most powerful supporter, was a Filipino business tycoon known for his sharp intellect and quiet philanthropy. He had funded schools, built hospitals, and championed artists, but sports, particularly tennis, had never crossed his radar until one evening. Scrolling through his tablet after a long meeting, he came across a short clip on social media. It was Alex, sweaty victorious, holding a Philippine flag after her match win in Dubai. In her post-game interview, a reporter asked, "You've been traveling nonstop for months, often without major sponsors. What keeps you going?" Her answer was simple. "Because every time I win, I feel like I'm bringing the Philippines with me. The billionaire smiled. That's excellence. That's national pride. Within weeks, his office contacted the Eala family. The purpose, not an endorsement, but an investment in her future and in the sport itself. The meeting of dreams. The meeting took place in Makati inside the billionaire's minimalist office. Walls of glass, air thick with anticipation. Alex arrived wearing a navy blazer and her signature smile, trying to hide her nervousness. He greeted her warmly, offering a handshake. You've made our country proud, Alex. Tell me, what's your next dream? Alex took a deep breath. To see more Filipinos in the world's top 100. I want to prove that tennis can be a Filipino sport. That one sentence sealed the moment. The billionaire nodded, then slid a document across the table. It read, the Philippine Tennis Excellence Initiative, initial funding, $7 million. This isn't charity, he said. It's a partnership. You represent who we can be. Disciplined, world-class, fearless. Alex was speechless. Her eyes shimmered. Sir, thank you. I'll make sure every cent counts. You already have, he smiled. You've inspired millions before this meeting even began. The announcement that shook the nation. Within hours, the news exploded. Across headlines, $7 million. Boost. Filipino billionaire backs Alex. Eala calls her a symbol of national excellence. TV anchors buzz with excitement. Social media flooded with hashtags, hashtag proudly Pinoy, hashtag la excellence, hashtag champing dreams. Athletes across sports from basketball to boxing praise a move. Even President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. released a statement. AlexEala embodies what we aspire for as a nation: passion, humility, and excellence. This support marks a new era for Philippine sports, building the future. The Eala Excellence Center. The donation wasn't just for Alex's career. It birthed something monumental. The Eala Excellence Center for tennis and youth development planned. In Tag 8, the center aimed to train hundreds of young athletes from across the Philippines, especially from underprivileged backgrounds, with world-class coaches, nutrition programs, and educational support. It became a haven for the country's next tennis stars, the nation that believed. By December, the Eala Excellence Center opened its doors to its first 50 scholars, young boys and girls from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. As a ribbon was cut, Alex stood beside her billionaire mentor, tears glistening. Television cameras rolled. Reporters captured every smile, every embrace. Today, she said to the crowd, we're not just building tennis players. We're building dreamers. And this is just the beginning. The billionaire placed a hand on her shoulder. And you, Alex, are the proof that dreams, when matched with discipline, become destiny. The applause that followed was thunderous, not just for a donation, but for what it symbolized. Faith in Filipino excellence, the new standard of greatness. A year later, Alex's name became synonymous with national pride. Her foundation expanded, her achievements multiplied, and her story became a subject of documentaries and school discussions. But when asked what meant most to her, the trophies, the fame, or the millions in support, her answer remained the same: the belief that I was enough, that a girl from the Philippines could stand among the world's best, not because of luck, but because of purpose. And so, under the bright lights of global arenas, every time Alex lifted her racket, it wasn't just her hand that moved. It was a collective heartbeat of a nation rising behind her. The billionaire's investment had turned into something money could never buy. A legacy, a legacy of excellence, a legacy of belief, a legacy named AlexEala. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Till next time.